I think we got that in.
You did. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
I can't see you.
Oh. Let's see. Can you see me now?
I can see you now.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi.
Thanks for taking the time to chat with me.
My pleasure.
I guess I'll just get started. My first question is, how did you first come to start working with animals? And did you receive any formal training or anything?
Sure. I think my first moment for me, I was about 6 years old, and I was in my grandparents' backyard, and I was rolling. You know, I was a kid. I grew up at that time we lived in a urban environment in a little city outside of Boston, and for me, those were moments I just so treasured, was when I could go to the rural areas where some of my relatives lived, and I could explore their backyards and their woods and their meadows and make these amazing discoveries. And for me, the first discovery I ever made, I was about 6 years old and rolled over a log, and there was this scaly, legless thing. I had no idea what it was, but my heart started to beat, and I just knew that I just needed to learn more about it. And it was a snake. It was a garter snake. And that, for me, was my invitation in the natural world. And I actually studied that snake for 2 years. From 6 to 8 years old, I'd visit it every weekend. When we went down there, I learned how it shedded its skin. And my parents were really great. They helped cultivate that interest. They got me a little camera and a little notepad and a field guide. I couldn't even read them, but they showed me. I still have that Peterson field guide today that I just wore out the background to. And I remember being a little kid in my bed and just looking at all these places that I wanted to go in the world to see the amazing creatures here. But from that moment, then did everything from very unconventional things to when I was 16, I started traveling. When I was 16, I headed off to the rainforest in Central America, to conventional stuff, going to college and studied biology and anthropology, and went to graduate school where I studied conservation biology. And for me, that's what's really exciting about this Lunchables opportunity, to work with Lunchables. I think maybe there'll be 10 lucky folks out there that if they enter and they win, will hopefully maybe have that moment of discovery in their life that we'll see where it takes them on their own life journey.
Awesome. I was going to ask you, do you have a scary or a crazy moment that kind of stands out in your career with an animal where you were...
there have been a few, not too many. It's always bizarre as you get older, realize if you still have the same job that you've been doing this for a long time. I was saying to my wife the other day, it's like, do you know I've been to Madagascar half a dozen times? It's like how many people or I was just speaking to a woman who lives in Alaska, and I was saying, yeah, I've been there and done this and done that. And I've seen amazing creatures, from seeing the last of a species as it eclipses into extinction, to being there at the moment of discovery. Just a month ago or so, a little bit more, in Panama, seeing a species of frog discovered for the first time. But rarely have there been moments where I've felt in true jeopardy. There have been a few. We had one moment when a project I did, I was attacked by an elephant, and that was very, very scary, but survived that and was able to reapproach that and re-explore that moment, and ultimately go back to tell that story in a positive way. But I try to look at animals in a positive way, and I always tell people, to me, the most terrifying moments I've ever had with animals have been with the human ones. Being in a coup d'etat in Cambodia, or being in an airplane that loses hydraulic fluid and you make an emergency landing with your daughter in your lap. I mean, those for me are far more terrifying moments than a wild moment. And for me, what I'm so excited about this, in May, when we take those 10 winners and their families and we all get together, I hope they will have their moments of discovery with an incredible creature, whether it's helping to work with the sea turtle at the New England Aquarium, or maybe helping to do an exam. We're going to the Franklin Park Zoo, where I work with friends there, it's an institution very important to me. We're actually, hopefully, things stay on course, we'll actually be able to see how they examine a gorilla. They've actually helped educate gorillas to safely come up and be examined for health and assessment and stuff like that.
Wonderful. I'm excited. I think maybe I'm going to try to enter the sweepstakes.
I hope you should. It's not hard. All people have to do is to go to the Lunchables.com. There's the Animal Planet Jeff Corwin icon, and you go in there, and it's open to anyone as long as you live in the 50 U.S. states and you're between 6 and 17 years of age. You and 4 members of your family can come along.
That's wonderful.
If you win. If you get the golden ticket.
I think my son would like that.
Yeah.
So.
How old's your son?
He's 2.5.
Oh, great. I have a 1.5-year-old and a 6-year-old.
Okay, so
and you're pregnant now, right?
I'm not pregnant.
Oh, you're not pregnant.
I just had a baby about 6 weeks ago. So.
Okay. Aren't you glad I can't see? I'm only seeing your head, but I saw your other picture.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm hiding the picture.
I didn't have one of those moments, like in the supermarket moment.
Well, speaking of your family, do you ever bring them with you when you are out in the fields? Your daughter or your other
I have. I have great memories of taking my daughter to Africa. My daughter's been to Mexico. My youngest daughter, my older daughter, they were just with me in Greece as I was filming in Greece. But I think it's so important to note that you don't need to necessarily go to Africa to have a great adventure. Where do you live?
I live in California, in Southern California, Orange County.
Okay, so you go right in Orange County, and you can have a great moment of discovery in your backyard with something as simple as a magnifying glass and a parent who can take the time to steward their kid through this experience. You can make great moments of discovery. It doesn't have to be an elephant. It can be something as simple as a roly-poly or a fence lizard or something like that.
That's true. Is there any animal that you like to bring home to your?
I don't. My focus really is about sustainability and conservation. I hope that these moments of discovery for these young folks that will participate and their families is that they will walk away from this, from the Lunchables opportunity, from this contest, that they will walk away with something in their lives that they can harness and use that will hopefully build them. In a way, because I believe that discovery is so important to children, and those moments of discovery. I think we're naturally hardwired to be scientists, and I think that's what makes us healthy, well-rounded adults. Are those moments of exploration and discovery as children. So for me, I hope these folks will have that experience here. But when it comes to animals, I like to see the animals in the wild, and in our house, it's very pedestrian. 2 cats. That's it. Nothing glamorous.
Okay. Well, I had some questions that readers had sent to me. So, is there anything that you do to kind of advocate for the animals or make sure that they're safe? Something that you do on a regular basis? Or?
Absolutely. Animals, of course, represent habitats and ecosystems. And for me, my mission is to look at habitats and to look at places where animal lives and to advocate for sustainable use and conservation of these places. So I'm very active in rainforest conservation. And where I live, and I think your backyard, again, is so important. I think you can look where you live in Orange County. You look at the challenges that animals and habitat face, and you can think, how could I get involved? Well, in my community where I live, we have a small wetlands museum. And this is a place that's all interactive where kids can go. It's called the Eco Zone. They can go there and they can make discoveries and they can see these things. So that's where I work with a number of different foundations and organizations, including both these zoos. The zoo, the Franklin Park Zoo, which contestants will visit, and the New England Aquarium are places that I work with very, very personally. But I believe it really begins in your community.
So is there anything else? I know you've mentioned briefly about the contest. Is there anything that you want readers to know specifically? I know we've talked a little bit about it. They can go to the site and they can enter to win possibly a trip out to the zoo and sort of spend some time with you. Is there anything that you want to tell readers?
Well, I think that even if you don't win, I think there's still great adventure and there's still great opportunity there. What's really exciting about this, what makes me excited about this campaign, working with Lunchables, is that They're interested in getting kids to look at amazing animals and what can they learn from that and how can they be more connected to the natural world. And I think you could do that on your own too as well. What are the things you can do as a family to have those magical moments of discovery with an amazing creature safely and wisely, where that moment can build as you grow. So I'm very excited about that, and that sort of is my mission. Is certainly the spirit behind many of the documentaries and television programs that I do.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you so much
for
taking the time to speak with me and my readers. And yeah, we'll just send them over to the site.
Thanks, Caryn.
Thanks.
All right.
Bye-bye.